Okay, so as soon as this Forky thing happened, I was reminded of a craft that I did in grade 1 where we made apple dolls. You basically sew a little doll and their head is made out of a peeled apple that you carve a little face into. And if you brush it with some kind of preservative, it keeps the apple from rotting, so it's free to brown and wither around these features until you're left with what looks like a very ancient old face. I cannot even describe how much I do not want that thing to be alive. So, why now am I doing a full review of this movie? Well, I had absolutely no hype to see it, no desire to see it really. I thought Toy Story 3 ended on a perfectly fine note, and I just didn't really care about the fork. But funny things happen when you're in quarantine. You get bored, you need something charming to watch that's not the news, that's not going to make you feel bad. So I thought, what the hell, I'll catch up on the Toy Story saga. And I watched it. I have to talk about this movie. So here we are. Let's talk about story. Our story opens in the past, on the day Bo Peep was donated. Molly has gotten older, and it's time for some toys to be passed along. Woody attempts to rescue Bo, but is surprised when she suggests he join her for this new stage in life. Unable to abandon Andy, Woody says his goodbyes and Bo is taken away. Fast forward to current times and the gang are at Bonnie's. For the first time ever, Woody is living his life being discarded daily and generally feeling useless. Ever concerned with his child's happiness, Woody is forced to plot ways to support Bonnie on the sidelines, and learns she's nervous about her first day of kindergarten. Against the other toys' advice, Woody sneaks along for the ride to supervise. In the class, Woody, the meddling puppet master, inspires Bonnie to do some arts and crafts, which leads to the accidental creation of fucking life! Look at his face! Woody didn't expect this! This fork thinks he's trash, but no, he's a toy now. He is a living existential crisis. My God, Woody, what did you do? Anyway, what follows is the two being brought home, then out for the family road trip. And then a charming montage of Forky trying to kill himself because he's trash and Woody repeatedly stopping him. Okay, I know that was a lot, and we're not even really into the main story. And all of it technically was relevant information for what follows. To wrap things up, Woody and Forky get lost and have to find their way back to Bonnie. Along the way, they run into Bo, who's living life as a lost toy, free to roam the world and beholden to no child. Oh, and there's also an antique store they come across with an evil baby doll named Gabby Gabby. She wants Woody's voice box to fix her defective one, so she can finally have the love of a child. Will Gabby Gabby succeed in harvesting Woody's organs? Will Woody choose to live life as a lost toy? Will Forky ever learn what it is to be a toy? Does this movie have a singular plot? No! So this movie won an Oscar, and it's illegal to say that Pixar films have flaws. Man, I'm bitter. And of course, I knew about this movie before I wound up seeing it. I knew it was award-winning, I knew that people generally liked it. Basically, I had a general idea of what this movie was going to be about and where everything was going to end up. I thought I knew what to expect. But after seeing it, I can say with full confidence that I have no idea what they were trying to do with this movie. Every Toy Story film has a central theme. On one hand, Toy Story 4 is about freeing yourself from the need to have that one thing, in this case a child, be your sole source of purpose and happiness. If we focus on Bo and Woody, it seems to be about cultivating your own happiness. But on the other hand, we learned by the end that Gabby Gabby's view that happiness should come from external sources isn't flawed at all. Gabby eventually succeeds in fixing her voice box, only to find the child she's always dreamed of rejects her. And watching this, I was kind of like, okay, this is the part where Bo Peep is going to come in and teach Gabby Gabby the error of her ways. That happiness and fulfillment comes from within. And hey, maybe Woody would see this and reevaluate his own need for a child. But Toy Story 4 doesn't do that. Weirdly, Woody comes in and says, "This child didn't love you, but I got a child." Ew, that was creepy. What about Bonnie? It's not like I've been feeling rejected by her myself. It's not like for the whole movie I've been impressing the loyal, positive qualities of my past kid onto Bonnie. It's not like I've even been calling her Andy in moments of desperation as a Freudian slip. So come on, trust Bonnie. Trust Woody. Woody knows best. Woody always knows best. And then Gabby agrees. And then to get even weirder, on the way of the gang going to Bonnie, Gabby just happens to see another little kid and is like, "I want that one." She's essentially just window shopping for children at this point. And this all just makes the message very confused. And Forky. What about Forky? He's a charming character, but when you really stop to think about it, he's not really needed in this movie at all. For the most part, he's just this passive tag-along that's a device for Woody to have to go back to the antique shop when Forky's kidnapped. And at some point in the movie, he just decides that Woody's right, that he is a toy. So, check that box, I guess. I'll give Toy Story 4 this. In its batshit craziness and lack of direction, it's pretty entertaining to watch. But is it the tale of Woody learning what it is to be free? Is it about a monstrosity learning his self-worth? Or is it about the unsung benefits of organ harvesting? Toy Story 3 ended on a perfectly good, open-ended note. So I feel like by expanding on that story, it kind of just ruined a perfectly good open ending and cheapened the other sweet endings that the past couple movies had. Anyway, the story was fun at times, but way more of a mess than I expected. And moving on to characters. I know that people are probably going to disagree with me on my story verdict, because we know these characters. We grew up with these characters. We love these characters. So of course we'd want to defend any story that lets us have a peek into their lives again. But I think people should really ask themselves, if they feel defensive, what is it that you feel like you have to defend? Is it the never-before-seen story of a toy desperate for the love of a child? Or is it all the special moments and new memories you have with a character that you truly love? I've said it before and I'll say it again. Great characters can save any subpar story. I enjoyed watching Buzz and the gang meddle in the lives of Bonnie and her family. I loved seeing Bo again, and I loved seeing how the years had changed her and Woody's reaction to that. Even the trailer bait characters were really fun to watch. The Key and Peele toys in this movie are these cheap carnival prizes that are really brash and radical, and doesn't that just make sense? Duke Kaboom was the Canadian icon that I didn't know I needed. And even Forky is this really charming, brainless innocent that adds this really bizarre flavor to the group. But if there's any character that's grown stale by the fourth installment, it's definitely the villain. I won't even waste much time talking about her. She's the same villain that we've seen for the past couple movies. One character I was shockingly surprised by was Woody. And I don't know if this was intentional in the movie or not, but in here, Woody comes across as a little unhinged. Like, he was always looking out for his child, and it was always framed as sweet. I kind of saw him as like a silent guardian for Andy. And that's kind of a nice thought as a kid, that, your favorite toy that you love so much is always there and always going to be watching out for you and making sure that you're happy. That's sweet. But I don't know how I feel about one of my discarded Beanie Babies being unable to accept that I don't need them so much anymore. And for them to be always plotting new ways to get nearer to me, to watch me and supervise, and insisting that they know what's best for me and know what I want and what my needs are, against the better advice of some of my more level-headed toys. What was sweet now in Toy Story 4 becomes a little deranged. I know a lot of people probably didn't get that, but I think he was damn creepy. Anyway, they're the characters you know and love. They're very likable, and it's interesting to see what the years have done to them, to say the least. And that brings us right along into tone. Toy Story films always aim to be very heartfelt and sweet. Toy Story 4 finds its heart in Woody learning that as one part of his life comes to an end, there's a new beginning. And as I mentioned, this message does get a little confused at times, given where some of these characters' stories land. And I'm not saying that this doesn't feel like a bright, happy, imaginative Toy Story movie like the others. It definitely does. But given some of the darker themes that they either intentionally or unintentionally brought up, it makes it a little harder to buy into the chipper Randy Newman musical moments. Sorry man, we just can't go back. We're creating life and implying toys have deep emotional needs, psychological needs for children that goes way beyond any just sweet bond between toy and child. Really quick, I just wanted to talk about how amazing this movie looks in the animation and the light. So many people were talking about this movie and how incredible it looked and how it was a visual spectacle. I honestly don't care. I don't know what this fascination is with making animated characters or animated realms look real. Like, absolutely, the light glances off these perfectly rendered plastic faces beautifully. But what are the plastic faces saying? Like, what did this movie even win an award for? Like, the voice performances are great, but we all knew that that was going to happen. But otherwise, did they win for the story? The confused, convoluted story? Did the character design factor into it? Because, you know, it's pretty much just characters from 1990 whatever. Anyway, so did I like it? Meh. I could never have guessed that when I put on this movie, I would end up wanting to do a full review. I don't think you're a terrible person if you like this movie, but I definitely don't think that this is the standard we should be aspiring to. Anyways, that has been my impromptu review for Toy Story 4. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you're impressed with the pretty animation. God, I'm bitter. Anyways, if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.